This is Untether.tv, where we get inside the business of mobile. Here's your host, Rob Woodbridge.
Hi everybody, welcome to Untether.tv, where we get inside the business of mobile. I'm joined today from the other side of Canada. There's a lot of innovation happening in Canada, and these guys are actually from Vancouver. What brought me to them was their open source mobile application development framework called phonegap, but these guys are from Nitobi, who are the creators of phonegap. I've got Andre. Wave your hand, Andre.
Hello.
And Phil. Andre is the CEO of the company, and Phil is a software engineer that works for Nitobi. Welcome, guys. Thanks for coming on and telling us your story.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
So, totally off the topic here, but this Canadian innovation that I see, I've spoken to a lot of entrepreneurs that are in the mobile industry, from Toronto, from Montreal, from Vancouver. What do you think it is about Canada and software engineers in the mobile space? Are we ahead, behind, emerging? Is this the next wave for Canada, do you think?
That's a good question. I think there's lots of smart people in Canada, lots of good software engineers, a lot of computer science programs at universities. So I think that attributes it. I'm not sure if we're ahead. I mean, there's a lot of innovation going on, obviously in the States and in Europe too. So I think there's a lot of innovation in mobile in general, and Canada is definitely playing a role there, definitely.
So are you guys from Vancouver? Did you go out there to go to school, or and just stay out there?
Yeah, I grew up in Vancouver.
Oh, you did?
Yep, same here.
Same.
Went
Okay.
to university here as well. Which is actually kind of a rare thing to find people who are from here. So
it is. Yeah, it's very rare. They're mostly from Ontario.
Yeah, moving to the good part of the country.
Exactly. or Saskatchewan. So did you guys stand in line this morning to get an iPhone out there, or was it?
No. We heard about the lineups though. Yep. Somebody went by from our office to check them out and said it was ridiculous.
Really? Yeah.
Hour and a half or so, I heard. Yeah, there was 500 people lined up before 9 a.m. or something.
That's crazy. Well, I got in line this morning, and it was pretty late too, and there were 7 people ahead of me. So I guess Ottawa was the place to be if you wanted to get an iPhone.
Definitely should have gone out there.
Yeah, if you feel, it's a short flight.
Yeah,
it's only this small.
Yeah.
So we're here really to talk about phonegap. And why don't you kind of give an overlay of what phonegap is, and then how it relates to Nitobi as well, because they're not intertwined, but it's kind of like Ruby on Rails, this development environment that spawned from a company, and I'm intrigued by why you guys built it. So start with, what is phonegap?
Sure. So phonegap is just basically an application wrapper that allows developers to write mobile apps in HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. So you write mobile apps using web text, and the actual framework is implemented on a variety of different phone platforms like iPhone, Android, BlackBerry. And the goal of it is to write your application once and then be able to deploy it to all these different phone platforms.
So it's like the utopia of app development, right?
Yeah, that's the goal. That's the goal. We're working on it, but slowly but surely we're getting there.
So, and how does this relate to Nitobi? I mean, you guys build apps for companies, right? And did this platform just spawn from reusable code that were you building tools to help in the development process, and that's how it came about?
Yeah, more or less. I mean, we're a software development company. We provide, consulting services and build software on contract for other businesses. And we've been doing that for years and years for web applications. And so we have a lot of JavaScript experience, a lot of early AJAX stuff. And we wanted to reuse those skills when the phones came out. And so when the original iPhone SDK came out for building native apps, we didn't really want to write Objective-C. We wanted to leverage all the HTML and JavaScript skill sets we had, and we thought a lot of our customers would too, because you can reuse a lot of code and skills if you can use HTML and JavaScript. So yeah, we started basically hacking on it to see if we could even do that, and then bridge out and get the native SDK calls and APIs from JavaScript. So that's kind of how it started as a little pet project. Got it working on iPhone, and then moved on to Android and BlackBerry. And then after that, we worked on Palm and Symbian platforms too. So It just kind of grew organically within the company. And here we are almost 2 years later. I think it's 2 years almost to the day this weekend that we started on the project.
That's right, iPhone Dev Camp 08, right?
That's
when it started.
San Francisco, yeah.
It did. So you guys, from what I read, is that you guys built the first step of this in 24 hours or 48 hours or something like this at iPhone Dev Camp?
Yeah, I think we got like one of the APIs working or something. Since then the code has definitely evolved a lot, and probably that original code is nowhere to be seen anymore. But that's kind of how it started.
So
there were some other people actually helping us there at that original iPhone Dev Camp. There was a team that kind of came together to help out.
So this is open source, right? So this is free for anybody to use, and you guys use it as well for when you're developing, iPhone or smartphone applications as well.
Yep.
So what was the inspiration to leave this open source like that?
Well, originally we wanted two things. We wanted help with it. So open sourcing, it's a good way to get other developers excited and help you out. And secondly, we just wanted mass adoption. We wanted everyone to be able to use it. We wanted it to spread into every kind of corner of the web and mobile web. So that's why we went with the MIT license, which is a very liberal open source license.
Yep.
And easy for people to understand. And so that's why we went that route.
So you build this platform. Over the last couple of years, you built it to the point where you're deploying on multiple platforms. So people with these skills like JavaScript and HTML can actually build and deploy apps, which is, so it actually has reduced the price of deployment quite considerably. And how is that? Obviously, you can do everything, or can you do everything that you would be able to do natively with this environment, this platform?
Yeah, you can in theory. I mean, it's an interesting question that you're asking there because from one side of this project is we want to offer a consistent development approach between all these different platforms, right? But on the other side, you want to offer as much as the phone can do to the developer. So it's like, two sides of the coin, they're fighting each other, right?
Yeah.
So right now what we're trying to do is we're trying to offer a consistent API for developers on all phones. So this would theoretically allow you to take your code from iPhone, pop it onto an Android, and away you go.
Yeah.
At the same time, we're fighting this plugin approach, so trying to expose any other functionality that developers want that's available natively to your PhoneGap apps. So we're seeing this as like two different problems, really.
So if I'm building something for an iPhone, am I limiting my ability to create to use all of the features of an iPhone that an iPhone provides? So that I can get it across a consistent app across all of these platforms? Is that's what you're saying?
Well, I think you have to take sort of one step back from that. And first, when you're building an app with PhoneGap, you have to ask yourself, which platforms you are targeting.
Yeah.
And then see what those platforms can do, and then see how that functionality affects what you want your app to do, right?
Right.
So for a majority of the basic device functionality, that's not a problem. You use one API and away you go. But there's certain things that exist on certain platforms that completely don't on another, like menu buttons on BlackBerries and Androids don't exist on an iPhone. Yeah. So there's considerations you have to take into account when you're building cross-platform apps like this. And some of these problems are also outside of the scope of PhoneGap as a project.
Yeah. One thing about that too is there's a limitation, I guess, in, let's say you want to do some like really intense 3D gaming experience or do some really heavy lifting computationally on the phone, like processing video or audio. Mm-hmm. In that case, you might not want to use PhoneGap, at least for the entire application, because if you're developing in C, you're going to get maybe a better performing app for those kind of really graphically intensive 3D type games.
Yeah.
But if you're building, casual games or, like something like Bejeweled or Tetris, yeah, something like using PhoneGap and using HTML and JavaScript or HTML5, Canvas and stuff like that, you're going to get a really well-performing game without having to drop into Objective-C. Yeah. Another thing to keep in mind is PhoneGap never limits you from combining PhoneGap parts of your app and fully native, so you could build whatever you want and kind of mix and match and go out to native at any point if you want. That's even how we recommend doing certain types of things like mapping. On iPhone, we recommend using MapKit and PhoneGap kind of together, so you can do all your screens, your forms and lists and stuff in HTML and JavaScript, and then use MapKit to plot the Google Maps and send data to it. Same thing on Android. So, yeah.
But a really simple app for iPhone, for example, you don't even need to have an Apple desktop or a MacBook, do you? Like you can do this on a PC. Is that true? Can you build these apps on a PC?
Well, you can write the HTML and JavaScript.
Yeah.
But you won't be able to compile the application.
So you still need to. So you're still in that issue where you still need a Mac somewhere in this chain in order to be able to deploy.
Yeah. You need a Mac and you need Xcode.
Yeah.
You actually need Xcode to submit your application to the App Store now. Yeah. You can't do it through the web form anymore. It's actually through the IDE. So
this is exactly how they did $4 billion in desktop sales in the quarter as well, right?
Exactly.
As the iPhone and the iPad and all these apps rise up, so you must buy an Apple desktop or MacBook.
Yeah, well, they have over 200,000 apps in the App Store now, so every one of those people needs a Mac somewhere.
It's a brilliant plan because it's going to be circuitous. All of a sudden, you're going to realize that it wasn't about the iPhone or the iPad. It's the fact that they were just trying to drive sales of their PC line, where everybody thinks they're trying to abandon it, right?
Yeah.
It's a master plan somewhere along the line. So, tell me about why. So we understand. So this is really opening it up for app development for people who have honed their skills over the last 10 or 12 or 15 years in JavaScript and HTML. Don't want to go into Objective-C or whatever language is necessary to develop the app. And it really is a low-cost or very cost-effective way to test the waters for app development within a company or even for a commercial app. And is that the vision that you guys had going forward, or is it just really a tool for you guys to help your clients?
I think that's how it started. Is an internal tool. Again, like Andre touched upon earlier, we have a lot of web tech skills in our company. We don't want to lose that, so that's how it started. But then, at a certain point, I can't remember when exactly, but it was obvious that the same approach could be done on different platforms as well. So then it went from just a tool to leverage our skills to more of a tool to become more labor effective as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, absolutely.
The cross-platform thing is really the long-term vision, and it's funny at first. I think when we first released, 2 years ago, everyone's like, "Well, I don't really care about cross-platform because." Yeah. I only care about iPhone. It's like, okay, well, you could try to argue with those people, or you can just wait. Yeah. And today, it's like, it's apparent that yes, cross-platform is important. With Android selling almost on par or activated handsets with iPhone, right? I think iPhone, if you count iPads,
they passed them now.
Yeah, but if you count iPads and iPod touches, they're still is selling at a faster rate than Android. But yeah, it's
only a matter of time.
It's only a matter of time, and really BlackBerry's coming out with a new thing. So, and we're seeing a lot of enterprise customers coming to us, and BlackBerry is really high on their list. And a lot of IT departments are mandating that they're not going to write native apps